say, hey, this is what we're going to have to do right now. But we both made a promise to ourselves to say, hey, it won't be like this forever.
But these people, they got to where they are and they found their purpose in life, and we find our mission and the things that we want to do because we decide to see what's on the other side of the things that we fear.
Sometimes just looking back on those moments and just kind of figuring it out and not having it all together and just being on that process, those are the best moments.
Yeah. If you procrastinate on things, you put the burden or the pain or both that you're feeling right now on your future self.
I'm not saying no to a lot because that's where I feel like I need to be in life to experience so much. Because if I fail, quote unquote, I'm still having the experience. There's still a lot to learn from it.
Failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of success. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. I like that.
You are inevitably going to fail, and you're going to fail a lot. And the most successful people just fail better. They're better at failing than the majority of us are. Today's a great day.
Today's a great day. Episode 5. I'm excited, man.
Me too. Me too. Especially what we're going to talk about today.
Oh yeah, it's an amazing topic.
Absolutely. Let's get it going. What are we talking about today?
Let's get into it. Today, we're diving into something that almost everyone fears: failure. Yep, that thing we try to avoid at all costs. Try not to mess up. Try not to fall behind. But what if I told you that failure isn't the enemy? It's actually the secret weapon in your growth toolkit. We've all been there. Late nights, setbacks, mistakes, even a moment where you felt like quitting. But here's the truth. Failure isn't final. It's necessary. In this episode, we'll unpack setbacks actually being setups and how to reframe them. We're talking about shifting your mindset from I failed to I learned, and how that simple switch can change everything. Here's some good news. There are millions of stories out there about entrepreneurs, artists, creators, and many who have faced major failures, setbacks, bankruptcies, rejections, and even public embarrassment. But instead of giving up, they use those failures to reframe, to fuel their comeback. Today, they're running successful businesses, and their secret, they redefine their failures as courses, not crashes. That's the power of reframing. Failure isn't the end. It's the foundation for your next big breakthrough. So let's redefine failure. How do we flip the script and make failures work for us? Let's talk about it. What is failure?
Man, so pumped to talk about this. I think we should go backwards, right? Like how we, maybe define failure in the past, as opposed to the way that we look at failure now.
That's a great way to start, yeah.
I would say, 10, 15 years ago, failure was definitely something that was like, it's in my mind, it seemed like it was something that I needed to avoid at all costs. Because failure seemed like, man, like I didn't get it wrong. I'm not successful.
Yeah.
A line that I really love is failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of success. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. I like that.
Absolutely, man. And so, but that was the way that I would look at it, right? And I think it stemmed from me personally from, just growing up. I had a lot of expectations from other people, my parents and my teachers and my coaches and things like that. And so the expectation was, kind of implanted in my head that if we failed, well, we did just that. We failed.
Yeah.
Mission aborted. Like we didn't get to where we needed to go. If I made a B in school, that was a failure. If we lost the game, that was a failure. We didn't look at it as like, hey, this is a part of success. We are going to fall on our faces. So now thinking of it that way clearly creates a lot of problems, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
With a few of them being, that the negative self-talk, the feeling of not being good enough, those kinds of things. And I think, over the course of the last, I would say 3 to 4 years or so, that definition changing for me has led to so many new doors opening up in my life, because I have made that mindset shift of if I fail, I got to be able to analyze it, look at it, learn from it, and keep moving forward. Right. I think we talked about it in the last episode about how, part of being successful is being able to, analyze something, being able to learn from the situation, take action, and then analyze and learn and take action. and so on and so on, and be able to iterate faster than the competition, be able to iterate in a better way, be able to move forward with things in a much better way. So for me, the word failure now has a much different definition than it did in the past. But before we move into talking about today, how did you look at failure in the past?
I mean, roughly in the same aspect, right? Because it's very black and white, when you're not necessarily looking deeper into it of just like, hey, I was supposed to pass and I didn't.
Mhm.
I was supposed to win and I didn't. And it was not much else besides that. So when I had a setback in any aspect, it was more so like, well, it didn't happen the way I wanted it to happen. And then I kind of just like would not necessarily forget about it, but I wouldn't like ponder on what the corrective action could be or what was supposed to be taught or what I should have gained from it.
Gotcha.
But now as I move forward, I really push myself to understand like, hey, being a little bit more critical in my thinking. It's just like my coach had this really good assessment at the end of each meet where he would go, hey, no matter if you won or lost, what is something that you can improve on, and what is something that you're happy you did. And win or loss, he wanted to hear from you. So the whole like, well, I failed wasn't a thing. Like, no, no, you did something good out there. Whether you showed up in the right uniform, there's something, so that really reworked my brain and understanding how to push myself, in a way of understanding failure in a sense. So, I would say around the age of 16 and 17 is where I started to reframe that aspect of not just like I failed and that was it, because that's exactly the way I looked at it, prior to understanding and unpacking how to actually look at each process, whether that's a success or a failure. There's something to be learned in that aspect.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's really cool. I mean, that you were able to at such a young age differentiate the difference between, failing and failing upwards,
Uh-huh.
essentially,
Yeah.
And so what kind of led to those mindset shifts in your life?
Well, the biggest thing was I come from like pretty, I would say a smaller hometown. So,
Hmm.
Springfield, Illinois, there's like maybe 140,000 people there, right? So you have so many areas in which you can like, go into sports, mostly basketball, football, and with wrestling, it was an even smaller community.
Gotcha.
So
And
I
you were a
didn't have,
wrestler?
yeah, wrestle. Yeah. So it wasn't like we had a whole lot of people. So in that aspect, our wrestling room on a good day maybe had 10 to 12 guys, you know. And the one thing that our coach would always reframe with us is like, look, there's anybody out there that could be here and they wanted to be here, they would be here. But you already dedicated your time, dedicated, after school, preparing your academics for it, you're here. So you're not failing by being here. There's just the need to get better and the need to improve. But there is no failure in that sense. And it was one of those things where I kind of had to look at it where as long as I'm in the game, as long as I'm showing up to practice, as long as I'm putting in the effort, I'm already winning. And so that really reworked my framework on what I perceived as failure because, with 8 guys, on this team, and we have a school of like, let's say 1,000 people, there's at least 200 or 300 of those people that would qualify to be able to come out and wrestle, and they chose not to.
Right.
So, I mean, and it's not to say anything against them, but it's also to say like, hey, you're in the game. You at least are giving it a try to go out and see something and do something that most people won't even like, step foot in because they're like, hey, I'm not gonna go out there and look crazy. You
100%.
know,
100%.
so yeah, that was one of the things where like it really changed it for me. And like, with you, I know like, you being an athlete, you being a scholar, like where in that process did it really start clicking for you? Like, hey, let me start reframing how I look at it.
No, absolutely. I think that again, in my youth, I really looked at it the wrong way
Mhm.
because it was like, I don't know, it was just ingrained into me that failure is not an option.
Yeah.
And I think that that's even that saying in itself is a little dangerous
Mhm.
because it kind of teaches people to believe that, hey, they maybe ran into the wrong
Yeah.
scenario or situation because failure is not an option. And failure is an option. It's an option every single day. And
Mhm.
it's something that we have to embrace,
Mhm.
So, being able to rewire the mind into looking at like, I think having great perspective on the fact that you are inevitably going to fail and you're going to fail a lot. And the most successful people just fail better.
Yeah.
They're better at failing than the majority of us
Mhm.
are, right? They're better at being able to look at, okay, we tried this, it didn't work. What can we learn from it? How can we do it better next time and move forward, right? I mean, look at How many times did Elon fail at sending,
Absolutely.
rockets into outer space
Yeah.
and things
Yeah.
like that?
No, absolutely.
Right. But he keeps going, and that's why he's able to. I swear, I think Elon like travels to the future, goes and grabs an idea, and he's like, okay, I can do that in 2025.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? He definitely has that push where he's like, I'm gonna make it happen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And like
Very commendable.
like he fails all the time, and he fails in the public eye.
Yeah.
He fails in the international public eye, and he just keeps moving forward. He just keeps rocking forth. So being able to change your mindset into knowing that again, success, failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a part of success. It's a part of the journey. You're supposed to fall down and get back up. If what you're choosing to do was extremely easy to the point where there was no failure guaranteed, then all of us would do it. And in that, things that are the more difficult something is, typically it usually either pays more or it rewards higher because the level of difficulty that it takes to be able to accomplish that goal eliminates a lot of people that aren't willing to do what it takes to so the people that are able to fail, the people that are able to learn usually become higher income earners to get more satisfaction in life and more fulfillment because they took bigger risks and things like that. And there's so many rewards that come from failing upwards. It's incredibly rewarding to fall down on your face on something, stand back up and say, I'm not going to let this keep me down. Do what it takes to get back up and then fly.
Yes.
It is so rewarding to the point where eventually you get addicted to fall. You literally get addicted to failing because you know that you're just one step closer to success.
It's gonna create a monster out of you.
It does.
And I think especially with where you were going with that is the biggest part for failure isn't necessarily I would say one of the biggest issues with failure for most people isn't the idea of like, hey, I didn't get there on the first try. But I think a lot of people get hung up on the embarrassment.
Right.
Sure. Like, oh man, I don't want to go out there and look like crazy. You know what I mean? Like, for example, you spend X $1 million on this project. All of these news reporters are going out there to watch this rocket go and it explodes in 10 seconds. Is that not embarrassing? Yes, absolutely.
100%. I mean, the tabloids, the news, everything.
Yeah.
He just eating him up.
Yeah. And then at that point, that's when you got to kind of drown out that noise. You know what I mean? Because the only people that really care that, you quote unquote failed are the people that didn't even attempt. You know what I mean? It's like the people that are sitting here, and, it's kind of funny I'm saying this, but the people that are sitting back on the couch just commentating on people that are actually in the game.
Mhm.
It's like when someone's like, oh, well, this guy got knocked out, in the first round. He's a bum. This is what he should have did. But actually, yeah, exactly. Okay, do you want to get punched that hard by this? This guy hits like 900 miles, like 900,
Pounds of pressure. I don't know where.
There you go. Yeah, yeah.
He punches hard.
He punches hard, right? He punches hard. He punches fast, right? So, just understanding that, the only people that really care are people that aren't getting involved. So your embarrassment shouldn't even matter because, these people might comment on it for a second, may say, hey, look how funny it was when you failed.
Mhm.
But they're going to move on to the next thing, but you're going to stay consistent.
Yep.
And at some point, those people who are saying like, oh, you are a failure or, oh, you didn't do this, they're going to start cheering you at some point because then your relentlessness is going to keep pushing you forward and say, hey, I can get it done.
If you're enjoying this episode, then you should send it to a friend that you feel like could really benefit from hearing this message here today.
Absolutely. I mean, like, we send it to our friends, they send it to their friends, they send it to their friends' friends. Next thing you know, everybody's watching Today's a Great Day and having a great day.
Everybody. So if the friend sends to the friend and the friend sends to the friend, then does that mean that by the time the friend sends to the friend, I'm going to be the friend?
It might come back to us. It might come back to us.
Let's try it, guys. Send it to a friend. We'll see if it ends up back to us. Now let's get back to the action.
Let's get back to it.
No, I agree 100% with you, and that was definitely one of the things that I thought about when thinking about this episode was how a lot of the times where like you said, we're just afraid of showing up in front of people and looking like we don't know what we're doing or looking like we didn't prepare enough and things like that. And so, for one, forget what everyone else thinks, guys. There are 8 billion people on this planet. If you think you are going to please all 8 billion people on this planet, then you're sadly mistaken.
Absolutely.
So right now, let's just kind of bust this down really quick. If we know we can't please all 8 billion people on this planet, then why do we even try to do it with 100 people or 1,000 people?
Exactly.
Or, now again, this isn't saying go out there and be a piece of shit.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
bro. Yeah,
Like, be a good person, do good things,
yeah,
like with this podcast, we're trying to help people, but we're not doing this because we want to just like gain a bunch of kudos points from the world and things like that. Genuinely just trying to help people. And because of that, we're not concerned with the outcomes. We're not concerned with how we may look in front of you.
yeah.
Some people watching might be making fun of us. They might
Yeah, there's gonna be
comment ugly
trolls.
stuff.
Yeah,
There's gonna be all
absolutely.
of that stuff, right?
Mhm.
But because the intention behind what we're doing is pure and the idea behind what we're doing is something that brings us fuel and passion, we're not afraid to go out here and do this. We're going to fail. There's going to be things that don't go right. There's going to be days where, we feel like, oh man, like what is going on?
Yeah, yeah,
But we're going to fail upwards and we're going to
absolutely.
continue to learn from those things and we're going to, you know, get the feedback from that situation and then be able to move forward. So with all that being said, guys, stop trying to please the world. Stop trying to please everybody. And once you remove that weight of having to do that, having to please every single person, then you're able to free yourself up to be the person that goes out there and tries new things and dares themselves to go and put their back against the wall and be able to go through situations that you've never experienced in the search for that gratification of being able to tell yourself,
Mhm.
I tried this. I
Mhm.
did this. I'm doing this. I'm going to do this. I am doing this, whatever it may be. It could be working out. It could be business. It could be school, whatever it is, whatever it is. That gratification that you get after going out there and giving it your all is absolutely unmatched.
It's amazing. It's amazing because it's just being on the other side of that fear. It's just a lot of people let that initial what if or those people telling them like, hey, I don't really see it for you. So maybe those types of situations really deter a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I look at those small barriers and I can relate to them because, I've been there where someone has told me to try to put a limit on what they felt my capacity was.
Right.
And even though I knew they were wrong, I still allowed them to do that.
You give them space in your head and they occupy their rent free.
Yeah,
That's where rent free comes from.
exactly. And, the hardest part was looking back on that or looking in those situations and you're like, I should just go do it. I mean, like that right there was like, to me, worse than failure is to have that regret. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like looking back on things, just being like, oh man, I wish I should have, or oh man, I could have done this. And that was one of the things that, once it clicked for me, I stopped living in that area of judgment. To the thing, man, where I did so much stuff after, my sophomore year of high school, man. I wrestled, I was in art club, I did drama club. I did one game of boys palms, but I did boys palms.
What's boys?
So like the cheerleaders have everything. I don't know
Oh,
if
you
it's
was a
like
cheerleader?
so it's not so where I'm from. I don't know if palms and cheerleaders are like they're technically different. But
Okay, okay.
So
So you was like the dudes that's like,
no, so like they didn't trust us.
oh,
They didn't
man.
trust us. So cheerleaders would pretty much be there like the whole game. They got their routines. The palms would come out and they would just like do the dance routines like at halftime and stuff.
Gotcha.
Pretty much like like the crowd, the energy. So they put out an announcement over the loudspeaker like, hey, we desperately need guys for boys palms.
Why the hell weren't you playing football, dude?
So I did. And there's a whole story about that with like
Game of football for pumps.
yeah. So let's let's say that because it was a little bit easier, but also it was an environment aspect too. So, like I had some friends that were in Palms and like, come on, like Logan, you gotta try. Like you gotta give it a try. Just come on out. And I'm like, I'm not gonna be out there looking crazy in front of everybody. Even though I knew it would be a fun experience. Here's the thing. Fun experience. But I was so worried about like what my boys might say, like they might catch me walking out of practice, like you just
I can imagine a bunch of high school dudes just flaming.
like, look at him with all those women. Like, you know what I mean? So just like it was the weirdest thing. But, one day I was just like, you know what? I think I like had like one of my other, practices got canceled. And they were like, they were there, or you know what? They were right before my practice. Okay. So I went there and I was doing drama club at the time. So they were in the auditorium and I went to go and I'm like, oh, that's right. We're not starting until 6 today. And I just sat down in the back and they're like, oh, you're here. And then they're like, come on. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to give it a try. And I mean, it wasn't like they put me on the spot and made me dance. They're just like, hey, we're going to teach you this routine. You can make it to X amount of practices. You'll be at the game. And I remember like telling people about it, like, yeah, I'm thinking about I'm doing boys palms for this game, whatever. And they're like, really? That's weird, man. Like, why would you do that? And I'm like, I mean, it's not really that bad though. I mean, it's kind of fun actually. And then, people just, saying their things to kind of keep me away from it to make me feel bad for like, broadening my horizons. And, we get to the game, it's a packed game, we got, just our shorts, t-shirt, just like, Southeast, high school. So we're just, getting ready and it was halftime and they got the cameras out, everyone's doing everything. I see like people pointing and be like, yo, look at them. Like, are they good? And we out there, man, we just having a good time. You know what I mean? We danced to a couple songs. We're just hyping the crowd. And by the end of the performance, everybody is so hyped. And all those guys that were like, oh man, you look goofy. Oh man, it's gonna look dumb. Like, dude, that was fun. That looked fun. Like, are you guys doing the next game? Like, when can I join? And it's like, it's so weird because they were trying to put all of these insecurities, a failure, looking crazy that they had on themselves, on me.
Yep.
And then once I broke past that, everyone else was just like, wow, look how cool that is. So I don't look like an idiot if I do boys palms. I don't look like an idiot if you are this like huge wrestler at the high school, but yet you're also doing like the importance of being earnest on stage. Like you can have versatility. And once I got out of that need to wanting to be in this box that everyone wanted to put me in, I just became everybody's friend. I did everything that like had any interest in. I didn't care, And then I felt like at that point I started learning so much and still having setbacks, like you said, along the way, but I failed up every single time. If I missed a step on that performance, then the next time I got on stage for a drama club, I made sure I had my lines like correct, 100%. And all of that pushed me to being the like the worldly person that I feel like I am now. I'm not saying no to a lot because that's where I feel like I need to be in life to experience so much. Because if I fail, quote unquote, I'm still having the experience. There's still a lot to learn from it. So yeah, that's like one of like my boys' palms experience that actually taught me that failure or judgment is really not a factor when it comes to enjoying yourself and having fun. Because I would rob myself on a great night if I did that.
And it's great that you say that because so many people in this world say that they feel like they don't have a purpose in life. They don't know what they're doing here. I mean, people are doing voluntary euthanasia.
Yeah.
In certain in Canada, like in Canada, you can
Really?
literally now, like,
Wow.
you can not you're gonna say pretty easily. There's steps to
Yeah,
it,
there's
but
stuff too, of course, but yeah.
you can say, "Hey, I need help in off of myself." And people in their 20s are doing this because of depression and anxiety and all of these other things. And one of the things that we rob ourselves of every single day when we're afraid of failing is the opportunities that lie in front of us. And it could potentially be that you do something for the first time and you get over that hump
Yeah.
and you realize that this is the thing that you're passionate about and this is what you want to do in life,
Yeah.
right? Like, for example, people that are skydiving instructors, let's say, or scuba divers or things like that. These are people that faced initial fears and then they find something that they're extremely passionate about. I actually really enjoy watching sometimes like the Red Bull channel and these guys doing all of these crazy things because they're so fearless.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they just go and they do these crazy stunts and these crazy things and they understand that there's a potential for them to maybe not make it to the end of this mission that they're on,
Yeah,
jumping
absolutely.
out of a plane or climb. I saw a guy the other day, he was his dad put up like rock climbing
Yeah.
handles on a little plane, and while they were flying, he went from one side of the plane to the other.
That's crazy.
It's insane,
Yeah.
right? But these people, they got to where they are and they found their purpose in life, and we find our mission, the things that we want to do, because we decide to see what's on the other side of the things that we fear. And it's like, I know you say this often, success is on the other side of failure.
Yeah.
That's what we're afraid of. That monster we're afraid of looking in the face is the monster that we need to face. The more that we overcome our fears, the more that we learn about ourselves, the more that we're able to figure out, this is who I am. This is what I enjoy doing. This is what I want to do. Failure is feedback. Whenever you fail, It is whatever you did giving you feedback that what you did wasn't enough at the
Mm,
time. You need to adjust your plan and come back and maybe attack it in a different angle or in a different way. Go about it in a way where maybe it's more efficient, maybe
mm,
it's less costly, maybe it's trying something in a
mm,
completely different way outside of the box.
mm.
And it gives your creativity an opportunity to be able to flourish.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And with that being said too, is that once you continue to push yourself, like after you get that initial fear or worry out of the way, that fear of failure or that fear in general becomes more and more minuscule
Mhm.
as you start to, go there. It'll always be there, don't get me wrong. But you understand like, hey, I'm gonna give it a try.
It's
And
not a
if
demon.
yeah, you know what I mean? It's not it's not a demon. It's not gonna keep haunting you, forever,
Mhm.
but as long as you're trying, you're in there. One of the things that I've noticed with you, just in the process, and also just us being around each other, is that you're very open to the idea of the possibilities.
Yeah.
And that goes into just like your everyday life, your business life, and also now with this new process that we're going here. If you were able to talk to teenage Jomar, who may not have had it figured out yet, like what advice would you think
Figure it out.
what advice would you give to teenage Yomar or to our listener here today? What would you tell them? Like, hey, this is going to be able to help you kind of get over, at least get yourself to the point where hey, fear is not going to control me, or the fear of failure is not going to control me.
Yeah. Um, don't don't let your mind create infinite possibilities that will never happen. And those infinite possibilities that you're thinking about prevent you from taking the step forward that you need to take with
Gotcha.
whatever it is. Our mind plays a very exhausting game.
Well,
When we think about doing something, let's say for example, let's talk about us doing this podcast, right? We talk about it. All right, cool. Let's do this. We're both pretty motivated people. We're
well,
both, we were at a point where we were ready, really ready to do this, right?
mhm.
But there's still, you know, all the infinite possibilities in the back of our minds,
Yeah.
right? What will people think? What will people say? Will this be something that resonates with people? Are we able to dedicate the time that we need to this, all of these other things, right? And so the more that you think about the future and the more that you think about the possible ways that you can fail, the more that you're bringing in to a potential reality, all of those infinite possibilities that you're thinking about. Whenever we don't take on something because we were afraid to try it, or whenever we do something and we're still fearing and we're still telling ourselves that we're probably going to fail, then we behave and act accordingly in order to justify ourselves. This
Absolutely.
is how people sabotage themselves all the time. One of the biggest things that we do to
Mhm.
ourselves is we sabotage ourselves.
Mhm.
And we sabotage ourselves subconsciously because we want to validate that feeling that we initially had that we shouldn't do this. We shouldn't try this.
Yeah, like I knew I was right about this all
Yep.
the time.
Yep. I told you that this wasn't going to work
Yeah.
out. I knew that this wasn't going to
Mhm.
work out. And the more that you think about those kind of thoughts, the more that you see the work that you see your your future
Mhm.
being flooded in failures that are setbacks that you can't learn from, the more that you manifest those types of realities. And we do that with so many things. It could be with cutting the grass. Oh, I'm not good at cutting the grass. I don't know if I try it, I'm gonna mess it up. If
Yeah.
that's your mindset,
You're
then
going
you're gonna go out there and you're gonna
you're
butcher
going
it.
to. 'Cause that's what you put out there.
That's what you put out there, and you're going to behave accordingly.
Mhm.
And by behaving accordingly, I don't mean that you're going to go out there and say, all right, I'm going to butcher this. This is exactly what I'm going out there to do.
Mhm.
No,
Yeah, yeah.
you're gonna get frustrated if the lawnmower doesn't turn on, and then you're gonna go out there and you're gonna be pissed off because the lawnmower didn't turn on. Your mood is sour. I didn't want to do this anyway. Now you're out here, it's hot. And so you start going down this negative spiral
Mhm.
and you perpetuate and accelerate the possibility of failing.
Mhm.
And you think
Mhm.
that it was inevitable to fail,
Yeah.
but in reality, you caused that failure to happen. Now, the opposite, it could be, hey, I've never cut the grass before, but I'm gonna go out there and give it my
Yeah.
best. Let's see what
Let's see
happens.
what we create here.
Let's see what we create,
Yeah.
right? Okay, cool. boom, boom, the lawnmower isn't turning on. I wonder what's wrong with it. Maybe I can ask someone, maybe I can ask a neighbor, maybe I can go on YouTube, maybe I can figure this out really quick. And then when you think that way, next thing you know, you go on YouTube and they're like, oh yeah, this knob has to be in this position. And you're
Yeah.
like, vroom.
Wow.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
on. All right, cool, cool. Let's get out there. Let's do the best that we can. You go out there, you're having a good time. You're starting to kind of see the
Yeah.
patterns in the grass. You're like, oh, this looks kind of
Yeah,
nice,
looks
you
pretty
know?
smooth. Yeah.
You come around a corner, you chop something up that you shouldn't have chopped up. You're like, "Ooh, oh crap.
Yeah.
All right, let's not do that
Yeah,
again."
exactly. Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? And the next thing you know, you chopped up a little corner here, and it took you 15 minutes to turn on the lawnmower, but it was a success.
Yeah. Yeah.
It You maybe failed at chopping up the little corner and turning on the lawnmower right
Yeah.
away, but that was feedback.
It was.
It was feedback.
It was.
The lawnmower not turning on is telling you, hey, something's wrong. That's feedback.
Yeah.
It's not failure. You chopping up a little corner is feedback. Now you know that for next time. Hey, I need to come around this corner a little
Be
differently.
careful with how you do things.
Right, right, right. So for the listener, for you paying attention now, and if somehow 15-year-old me is listening to this,
Yeah, it's getting crazy. Who knows?
who knows? Who knows? They say that we affect the past and the present nowadays.
Hey.
Yeah. I don't know. Cool. But again, don't let the infinite possibilities overwhelm you. I tell this to my team, my agents on my team all the time. Whenever they call me and something's going wrong, hey, what's the best case scenario? They're like, well, best case scenario is that this gets approved and da 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 da, this and that, blah 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 blah. And I said, okay, let's think from that. Let's think from there. Let's look at this is going to work out in the best case scenario. Now, is that going to actually happen 100% of the time? No, no. But now, if you're thinking about the best case scenario, then your actions are aligning with that best case scenario. They're not aligning with the deal falling apart or whatever it may be. Now you're making sure that you're timely with your responses. You're making sure that you're optimistic. You're making sure that you're keeping everyone in a good mood and you're not frustrating them more than what they're already frustrated. You're doing all of the things that are required for things to work out. Now, if they don't work out, again, that failure is feedback.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times, usually, like especially in our business, that feedback is, hey, it's the client, it's not us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I always tell people, we got to bake a cake with the recipes that a client gives us every single time. We got to bake a cake that's edible. But sometimes the recipes, it's not vegetable oil, it's synthetic oil for a vehicle.
Yeah, I found something. Here you go. Make it work.
Now I got to make it work. You know what I mean? So if we're able to imagine ourselves in the future when the things that we're aspiring to do, looking at it in the best case scenario, then our actions in the present align with that best case scenario. And now we're working to justify our belief in our being able to succeed rather than justifying our belief in how this is going to fail. And then we sabotage ourselves and end up proving ourselves right. It's counterintuitive, but we proved ourselves right.
Absolutely.
So if that's the case, then work on proving yourself right in a positive manner and watch what that does for you.
Absolutely.
What about, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I definitely want to just highlight something that you just did there, though. The correlation, right? So we talked about cutting grass, business, and everyday life, which means no matter how you look at it, failure is a working formula across the board.
In everything.
So if you failed at cutting the grass and then you had to go in and you had to Google and get on YouTube and see how to fix the solution, then you finish cutting your yard, you go inside and say, hey, I got this question from a client I've never gotten before. What should I probably do? Reach out and look for guidance. So you get on Google, you call a friend, you call someone that you worked with before, and everything starts to work out in that sense. So that formula of failure or of how to circumnavigate failure, how to reframe it is a working formula across the board.
100%.
From the most small tasks you have to do to the most important thing that you need to do to get things done, it all has the same type of concept, which is amazing to look at because it's so simplistic.
It is.
It's there's nothing wrong because there's always solutions to get things done. And at the end of the day, if you got the grass cut, the neighbor may not even notice that part that you clipped bad. Oh, it took me, 15 minutes to get the lawnmower started, but you're finished. Yard looks great.
Right.
You know, hey, the client has this question. I'm not sure what to do with it. And in this moment, this is a problem. But once you close, you close. Right? You've done everything you needed to do. And there is no clear win. You know what I mean? Even when you see someone go in, you know, to a boxing ring and knock the guy out in 15 seconds, that was months of preparation, months of failure.
Years. They prepared for months for that fight.
Yeah.
But it's a lifetime worth of failing.
Yeah.
It's a record that more than likely is not unblemished unless you're Floyd Mayweather.
I mean, but even still, he lost in the Olympics.
You know what I mean? So it's like, and should have lost a couple more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me know in the comments. What do you guys think about that? But you're absolutely right, man. And if you're able to create successful habits, then they start to compound, right? So if you're able to, like you said, man, it's in every aspect of our lives, right? You know, people are afraid to, let's say, for example, start cooking every single day because they're afraid that their food is not going to be very good. No, now other people don't cook for other reasons, right? Some people, they just, hey, I don't want to cook, right? Like, hey, I make enough money, I don't want to cook, or food.
That's that's not
that's crazy because y'all's food is good.
Dude, man, that's the reason why. I don't need to. While we have a bad meal, we could always have a good.
Wait a minute, what do you mean? Like, y'all make really good food?
They make really good food.
Who's that?
My wife and her mother, all her family. they cook amazing. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I'll make a mean cup of water, but like
this guy,
I know my strengths. I know my strengths, but at the same time, should I learn how to cook? Absolutely.
Well, but you know, you still, again, and to my point, like, that's outside of the point, because I know there are like you now, like, I know that about you, like, hey, you just rather not. Not. It's not that you can't, it's that you'd rather not, right? But there are people that are afraid of cooking or whatever else it may be, man. It could be any other thing, but they're afraid of doing it because they're going to know that they're going to fail, right? Hey, for us, for example, we cook every single day at home, lunch and dinner. Lunch 2-3 times a week. We may eat out, just you know, from like that. But when we first started doing this was when we first moved down here, and it was during the COVID years. So we were kind of forced to start cooking a lot at home because everything was closed. You know what I mean? And Shanna and I we were like outside eaters. We hardly made anything because when we did, it sucked.
Yeah. Yeah, I get you.
You know, there were a lot of days where you spend an hour cooking this meal, and then you end up eating Hungry Howie's.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, hey, man, $7 down the street.
You know what I mean? Yeah. That happened to us many times, but eventually, you know, really what caused a change was that we went on a very crazy diet. So I used to weigh like 40 pounds more than I do now. And part of that diet was, you know, we worked out a lot, and we started intermittent fasting. So we only eat to this day, between 12 and 8 is the only times that we eat. I don't eat breakfast. Like, it's a cup of coffee in the morning and water, and that's it. You know, I'm not like, I don't work out. I'm not like in this amazing shape, but it's helped me stay within a 5-pound range of where I lost 40 pounds. Right. But as we started cooking more, the food, it sucked still. And sometimes we would hit a home run. And when you hit that home run, you know what you do? You make that shit once a week.
Absolutely. Hey, you gotta get a formula here. Let's keep this going.
Yeah. And so that starts to create this momentum, right? Okay, well, if I can make this meal good, then that means I got potential in me to be able to make another meal that's good, right? Yeah. So what was that good meal? Made a mean like burrito bowl. Mean burrito bowl.
Those are good, man.
Right? Good. So I'm like, all right, maybe I'm gonna go get Mexican food.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So a couple times a week. The next time, you know, it's like, okay, let's try. And so we started making crunch wraps. So we would have crunch wraps, and then, you know, we started doing like different salad wraps and stuff like that, and different meals where, again, you know, at the time it was for this diet, but burgers without buns and all these different things. And we just kept failing. We kept failing. And then we would succeed, fail, really fail.
Mhm.
And we just kept going. And yeah, there, we spent money on food that we had to throw away because it was horrible. We spent hours and hours and hours
Yeah.
cooking on meals that, it's like, all right, we might eat a bowl of soup.
Exactly. Yeah,
You know what I
right.
mean?
No, good practice.
Right.
Yeah.
But we didn't let the failure stop us. And now it's something that we genuinely enjoy.
Oh yeah.
Yesterday Shannon made me a lunch sandwich with like some pesto in there and turkey and bacon and all this other stuff, avocados. She's never made this before.
Mhm.
And now that's one person that she she would not try different things for a long time.
Gotcha.
And now she's even past the point where she's she's experimenting at least 2 times a week now for dinner, something that we haven't had
Something
before.
cool, yeah.
And now we're at a point where we can't even imagine our lives being any different than what they are now. I can't imagine going back to, being the person that had to decide on what to eat out and about, because that's how different our lives
Yeah.
are now, because it's what we've championed, what we've become accustomed to, so don't let what could potentially happen stop you. It may happen. It may happen. It probably will happen.
Mhm.
But there is so much that, dude, one night we decided to make like this soup. And I'm not a big fan of soup, but like, hey, let's make this soup. We're in the kitchen together making this soup. Jace is running around, da 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 da, all this other stuff. Long story short, bro, this soup is cooking for like 2 hours.
Wow.
Soup is done. Time to eat this soup. It is trash. Trash, man.
Damn.
Trash. And that is one time in my life where I could remember eating chicken nuggets and being like, dang, these are fire.
Yeah.
Because we went to McDonald's.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was fun, bro. It was part of our experience. When we're old and we're like laying in our deathbed,
Yeah.
those are little memories that we'll remember.
But see, that right there is a good point. And that's something that we definitely want you guys to take with it too.
If you're the kind of person that loves to hear just good vibes every single day, then I recommend you subscribe to our channel.
Yeah, I mean, what else are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, you're already here.
Just hit that little button, guys.
Just hit the button. Hit the button, hit the bell. I'm new to this, so like, I'm trying to figure it out. Hit the button, hit the bell, jump in the comments. We're going to be here anyway, so why not?
Hit the little bell for notifications.
Bing,
so
bing.
You'll get notified every single time a new video comes out.
Today's a great day.
Today's a great day to subscribe to Today's a Great Day.
Thank you, guys.
Let's get back to the action. If you're enjoying this episode, then you should send it to a friend that you feel like could really benefit from hearing this message here today.
Absolutely. I mean, like, we send it to our friends, they send it to their friends, they send it to their friends' friends. Next thing you know, everybody's watching Today's a Great Day and having a great day.
Everybody. So if the friend sends to the friend and the friend sends to the friend, then does that mean that by the time the friend sends to the friend, I'm going to be the friend?
It might come back to us. It might come back to us.
Let's try it, guys. Send it to a friend. We'll see if it ends up back to us. Now let's get back to the action.
Let's get back to it. Embrace the failure. Those are the best times.
Yeah.
Like, like we all have goals that we've set for ourselves. And, you get there and it's great. And we had this conversation before about, me wanting to get here, for example, and it being great. But sometimes just looking back on those moments of just kind of figuring it out and not having it all together and just being on that process, those are the best moments.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, people don't really talk about that. Yeah. You know what I mean? They look at failure as such a detriment. But man, when I tell you, it holds some great stories. You know what I mean? Like, it holds some great stories. Some of the best times that me and my wife have had were when we were broke and trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? Now we're living great now. We're having great times, but we look back on those moments with so much happiness and fondness of like, hey, do you remember when, for example, this is like super, super like funny. But when we first got our first apartment, we we didn't have a whole lot of money. I think I might have had like 20 to 50 bucks left for like the next week and a half till we got paid again.
Oh, you was surviving.
Survivor. To this point, that when Dollar Tree was still $1, we went there with 23 bucks. And we got our entire set of like, all the things that we need to kind of have to eat.
Bro, that's what's up. It's so cool hearing that because I didn't know you then and seeing you guys where you are now in life. Like, man, please listen, guys. Like, what we're saying really has changed.
It does. It does. And that's the thing is that at that moment, we understood what we could do, right?
Mhm.
And it was okay. It's like, hey, this is what we're gonna have to do right now. But we both made a promise to ourselves to say, hey, it won't be like this forever.
Right.
So then out there, we did our, experiences. No, we both joined the military. She went back to school.
You guys
I
both were in the military?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was just you.
Yeah, no, man. We both did it. We both did it. She actually went a month before me because of just like the story yesterday. I had issues where I had to constantly go back to get everything set. So she enlisted in July, and I enlisted in August of 2015.
Gotcha. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So but those are the greatest moments, though. You know what I mean? When we were making $23 stretch. Now we're happy if we get home and we didn't spend $150 every day to step out. Everything's so expensive. But those are the great moments. Those what people may deem as failures, were definitely relationship builders. It definitely made us become tougher, and also appreciate the small things, but know that, hey, it's not going to be like this forever. One of the quotes that I do like is from The Rock. I think it was like in 1995, I had $7 in my pocket, and I knew two things: I'm broke as hell, and I won't be one day. And now we look at him like oh, well, that's just a rock. Man, he's been
Must be nice. Blah,
yeah,
blah,
exactly.
blah, blah,
But
blah.
people don't think about that. That he was a failed NFL and CFL football player.
Yeah.
He
could have remained a pebble forever.
He could have.
He became the rock.
He came the rock. You know what I mean? And that is what I mean for no pun intended. What sculpted him into who he is today. Right?
Dad joke.
But
It's gonna start keeping track of dad jokes. I got one.
I got one. You're gonna sneak one in. You're gonna sneak one in or something. But it's those things, right? Is that you don't become The Rock. You don't become Joe Mar. You don't become these great people without failure. These are the things that you need to push yourself in a way. So don't think that you're going to tippy toe around the process and become successful. It just doesn't work like that. And, the good thing is that we do know that, you are smart. You understand this already. But sometimes you just have to hear it out loud to know that, hey, it's okay to not necessarily have the newest whatever on or not push the newest what. None of that matters in the short term because this is not your final destination. This is just one level on the many levels you need to upgrade your life and upgrade your mindset to get yourself there. So if you're not where you need to be today, okay,
That's perfectly fine.
The biggest problem in that situation is what you've already acknowledged, is that you're not happy. And now you're pushing yourself to move forward. So now we're already on a good track here.
I'm 100%. I love the way you framed all of that.
And it's just, it's so nice to be able to have that mindset. And it's nice to be able to see people want to do more. So in the comments, I want you to really, tell us about a situation where you've understood that failure built you. It can be a quick, story, or it can be super detailed, but we want to hear about your failures and how they've sculpted you and what has made you the man or woman today that you are because of those. Because I think people don't really want to talk about those bad situations. You know what I mean?
True.
You know what I mean? There's people that really won't even want to give you the idea they've been through it. It's always been sunshine and roses for them, and it's weird because we all know that's not a true. That's not a true statement.
It's such a facade.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like people, we have days where your mental health is great. It's not so great. You have days where you're motivated to get everything done, and there's some days when you just don't feel like it.
Right.
Today was a long day for both of us, and it would have been very easy to say, "Hey, man, we're on a good path. Let's go take a day off, and let's just get some rest."
I literally told my sister when we left from filming, I spent 6 hours filming for real estate earlier, and here we are. But I told my sister, I was like, she's like, "Are you still gonna go film?" I was like, "Yeah, absolutely, absolutely."
Yeah.
There's no
way to get around it. I mean, even like tomorrow, for example, like we have another filming day, and I have a trunk or treat, for the kids' school, and we're gonna figure out how to make it work.
Out when we get around. That's the commitment that we have. Like there's nothing that can happen with this that can deter us from stopping this. Like it's and you might say, "Oh, don't jinx it," blah 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 blah. It's like, no, we can't think. I'm so glad I thought about that.
What is that?
Jinxing things.
Oh,
do you know how counterintuitive that is?
Explain for us.
Let's say me and you say, "Oh man, tomorrow's the day.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's the day that and insert random blank whatever. Tomorrow's the day that we have our first whatever it is.
Mm.
Why did we get taught growing up to say things like, don't say it, don't jinx them.
Yeah, don't jinx it. Yeah, yeah.
Don't jinx it.
Knock on wood. You know
Not
what I
going right,
mean?
right.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so counterintuitive, and it's something that we think of like, oh, you think about, oh, don't jinx that, and it's like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
But in reality, you are telling yourself, hey, don't think about that thing anymore.
Mhm.
And in doing that, you start to remove the possibility of it becoming something that exists
Yeah.
in your future through the present.
Yeah.
Don't tell yourself
Yeah.
to not jinx things.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just that's random. I know it's random.
No, you're good
about it all
but
the
it's
time.
it's just a random thing that we all need to do. Very rarely do we speak life into it.
Yeah.
You know what do people say? Claim it.
Yeah.
Claim it. When you have something that you want, the thing is that you can't just hope, pray, or wish for it. You gotta have
You
action.
gotta have action.
You gotta have action. You know what I mean? Like,
Intention brings manifestation.
absolutely. Because you know what? When you make your $1 million, I know that's what you want. When you get the house, when you get the car, the process is what was the payoff. The process is what makes it great. If I just walked up and I had my dream car just dropped off into my front yard right today, I'd be appreciative.
No, you want it eventually.
And you know, the initial appreciation,
the
like,
first
oh,
one.
it's here.
Yeah.
But then after a day or two, you start just being used to it because there's nothing that you had to muster up to get to.
No, and my bad. And what I meant by that was if it does get dropped off, by the time the 200th car gets dropped off, it's just like, okay.
Exactly. You know what I mean? No, but we're on the same the same path with that. Is that, initially you'll have some feeling of like, oh my God, thank you so much. I really wanted this. But it's not necessarily the payoff is what you're looking for. It's that when you do sit in that car and you lay back and you just go, man, I did everything that I could to get this, and it paid off.
Mhm.
That's what you're looking for.
That's what you're looking for, and that's what keeps you. That's what keeps you alive.
It keeps you. It's the best feeling in the world to break past those things.
Mhm.
It's just so crazy that a lot of people just have not given themselves the opportunity to feel that. But the good thing about that is that there's always time.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we said in the intro here about, the entrepreneurs, business owners, artists. But, one of the things that we can go into as well is, the roadblocks that a lot of them had to even get to the point to give themselves those titles. There's actors out here that are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, blending that first role. Can you imagine someone being 50 years old being like, yeah, I'm still going out for auditions?
What a hero.
Yeah.
What hero.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It's amazing to think about those things. It's never too late to turn it around. And I think a lot of people think that success or elevation is always based on age or opportunity. Sometimes you just make it. You know what I mean? Because I'm inspired to hear about the 80-some-year-old actor that did their first role in a major movie. And as much as I'm inspired to hear about the child that landed his first he or she's first actor role, it's a great experience.
Yes.
And it worked for them exactly when it was supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
Because guess what? If that 80-year-old actor had been acting for 30 years, nobody really would have cared. But because of them staying consistent and staying so persistent over the years, they got their payoff to where there's news articles covering, there's interviews, there's things that people are saying like, hey, this is who I want to be like when I grow up.
Right. I think for people to also be able to prioritize what they fail on is very important as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, like for example, the other day we went to Chuck E. Cheese for a birthday party for a friend of ours' daughter, and playing the games. Let's say they're at Chuck E. Cheese and not getting the high count, failing at that. Like, okay, that's perfectly fine. Right?
Yeah,
perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's something that means a lot to you, especially if it's something that means the world to you, for example, your children, your family, or maybe your career, maybe your art passion, whatever it is, if it means a lot to you, then it should mean a lot to you to fail as much as you can in the name of succeeding and moving forward.
Absolutely.
I love my children and I don't want to fail them, right? I want to make sure that in this lifetime, I'm able to be a good leader for them. I'm able to provide to them, the things that they need and some of the things that they want, and to be able to tee them up to be able to go out there and be good members of society, be happy with themselves, live their life filled with purpose.
Well,
So when it comes to things that have to do with that,
mhm.
I'm not afraid to fail
Yeah,
at all,
absolutely.
because it's for the most important people in my life.
Absolutely.
You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? When it comes to things that are in business, the only time I'm ever afraid to fail in business
Well,
is if it's something that
yeah.
doesn't mean anything to
Mhm.
me. Like, okay, well then why would I go out there and fail at that if it doesn't mean anything to me?
Absolutely.
Like, it's pointless. So I'm not gonna do that.
Very
But if
true.
it's something that means a lot to me, right? Like, for example, it means a lot to me to build up my real estate business, because I think that eventually you and I are going to be able to take this on to a new level and be able to,
Oh, yeah.
travel around the world and things like that, right?
We
So
will.
it's
Absolutely.
incredibly important, and it has been for me for ever since my sister joined me. It's been incredibly important for me for her to be able to grow, to have the confidence to be able to operate this business.
Yeah.
And so every time there's something that we need to do, I have her do it and fail at it.
Yeah.
When she first started real estate, her first action was to go film and talk about real estate. She had no idea what to talk about.
Yeah.
I said, that's okay.
Yeah. And honestly, in that sense too, it's a great testament to see that in real time was, just seeing like Lenny, you've done amazing over this time.
She,
Just like
it's
literally just
unreal.
like leaps and bounds. But the good thing is that from someone who didn't know at
That
the
light
time, yeah,
word about real estate
exactly
18 months ago.
for her to develop into who she is now has been amazing. And then also from the outside perspective of fans of you guys' work, just seeing, her do what she's been doing has always been great. They may not be perfect for the person who's doing things or trying them, but us engaging and us, watching the content, it was always great. And she's gotten even better, and even more comfortable. And it's really developing into showing that, hey, what you may deem as a failure is another person's like, wow, that's great. Like I wish I could be as confident as you were. I wish I could, give this information as well as you have done. We sit in a lot of areas of other people's failures, and we don't even realize it. Everything that we're using today, and everything that even the devices that you're listening to this podcast on, is someone's failure numerous times over, but they stay consistent. And this is why, I always say with you guys, like, man, you guys are great. You guys are some of the greatest people I've ever seen because you guys aren't afraid of failure. It's so easy to say once you see the final product, oh, yeah, well, it makes sense of why they're successful. They're likable people. They're doing good content. They're staying consistent. But there's so many factors that go into that for them to even say, hey, let's get up and just go out and record today. Like there's so many things about, oh, well, it could rain, or, oh, this may not be anything, or maybe you don't get a single viewer, but you guys stay consistent. And to see something, at the, building stages become what it is today and continue to grow, that's a testament to the idea that, hey, failure cannot be a limitation. You know, only an elevation to get you to where you need to be. So as you fail, you keep going up that threshold to where you can be a failure, quote unquote, with 10,000 subs, 100,000 subs, a million subs, and still put out what you may not consider to be great content, but someone's going to take it and ingest and say, hey, this is great. I love this.
Yep. I
So
agree. I
it's
agree.
beautiful. It's
I
beautiful.
appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Like, as you're saying that, I think about, that this past couple of years, and I would dare to say that roughly 25 to maybe even 30 to 35% of the content that we've filmed has not made it out or has been deleted, right? Because they were feedbacks. They were videos that maybe we were trying things that didn't resonate with people.
Mhm.
Or maybe we tried something that, we tried an idea, and when we had it edited, it didn't pan out like we thought that
Yes.
it would.
Yes.
Whatever it may be, a lot of the time that and man, as someone who works in real estate, we spend a lot of time with people that we don't end up doing business with.
Yeah.
I don't get paid
Mhm.
until everything is signed, sealed, and delivered. In the very last step
Mhm.
that happens in a real estate transaction is disbursement of funds,
Mhm.
and everyone's funds are dispersed. The
Mhm.
seller receives their profits from the sale. The bank gives the money to the seller. for the loan that they're giving the buyer. The buyer makes had made their deposits, and the title company makes their money. The brokerage company makes their money. The mortgage company makes their money. The very last thing that happens is the disbursement of funds. That's when my brokerage gets paid, and then I get paid after that. It still takes a day or two or something. You know what I mean?
There's a process.
So there's a lot of people that we've worked with that didn't make it to the finish line, that maybe we worked with for a little while and didn't even make it to a contract.
Gotcha.
There's a lot of time that has been quote unquote wasted, but all of that has something inside of it. There are people that we've lost because we didn't do a good enough job of following up or providing value. There's something to learn there.
Yeah.
You know, there were people that we've lost their contracts. There's something to learn there. Maybe I could have done something at the beginning of this to help them be in a better position. So fail upwards and fail proudly as well.
Yeah.
You know, stop letting the internet lie to you. Like, have you ever heard of the dead internet theory?
I think we've talked about this previously, but I think I would love to hear more about it. So
It's very simple. I mean, it was like in 2015 or 16, they said that we crossed a point where over 50% of the user accounts on the internet were not real people. So, you know, hacked accounts and bot accounts and stuff like that. So if that's the case, and the reason that this came up with the last time we talked about it was because Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, ChatGPT, he said that he's starting to see where his AI models, his LLMs, are showing that may be true, that half of or more than half of the accounts on the internet aren't real people. So the internet is no longer, at least from a peer-to-peer place, is no longer a reliable source. You might be arguing in the comments, probably are arguing in the comments with a bot. Somebody that criticizes you, it may just be a bot. It may not even be a real person. Those people that you're so concerned with impressing out there and not failing in front of, and the ones that are sitting here talking about, oh, everything in my life is so perfect, blah, 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 blah. It's not the case.
It's not.
You know, so that's one example of it. The other example is that, you know, social media, people want to show that they're living this amazingly wonderful, perfect life that has nothing that's going wrong. And it's usually those that are the loudest, that are the ones that are
super effed up.
You know what I mean?
You know what I mean? Like super, super.
And these are the people that we're concerned with, you know. Now there's also so many good people. Do you know how much, like, I love seeing a good video on YouTube and then going to the comments and watching people just absolutely bless and shower the creator of the content with just so much good feedback. I love
that engagement is amazing.
It's so amazing because I know that I just know that it means so much to the creator for their work to be validated. And that same creator is someone who took risks and they failed and they created videos and they didn't upload them and they got frustrated recording and man, you go out and you start filming and you forgot your microphone. So now like all of this stuff happens. You know,
there's so many factors.
So many factors.
But once you get humans being human with one another, where we're actually getting interaction and positive feedback, like it's a life altering experience. It can put the battery back in somebody else's life and in somebody's back and being like, wow, maybe I should keep going. You know, and that's the benefit of being able to work with one another and, you know, really deal with each other on a person to person level, not just the, hey, you know, my color over here is this, your color's over here is that, and we're gonna stay separate. We're gonna argue. Like you said, you may not even be arguing with a person. You know, I've clicked on some of those profiles before. It's one profile picture and no data after that.
Absolutely.
Who is this person?
Inciting anger or saying something negative or whatever it may be. What you're passionate about, you can absolutely succeed at if you just continue to go out there, give your best, put your best foot forward. There are people that create new markets every single day in this world that we live in. We live in a world of interest media, as Gary Vee likes to call it now. You know, and you'd be surprised at how many people would be absolutely interested in what you do. I ran into this page the other day that kind of has me mesmerized, dude. This person, they'll take they have this whiteboard and then they have two samples of paint. Let's say it's yellow and blue. And they'll have like a blob that's this big and it'll say 30% yellow, and then a blob that's a little bigger, it'll say 70% blue.
Mm.
And then 50% yellow, 50% blue,
Mm.
70% yellow, 30% blue. And it's just like three blobs of paint. And then they just mix each one of them up. And so you get to see what
Yeah.
color and it's actually kind of crazy,
Yeah.
like how different
Yeah.
they each turn out. Like you get variations or shades of whatever it turns out to be when you
Yeah.
mix them together. um and this person just said, hey, I'm gonna make a bunch of these videos,
Mhm.
and they have millions
Oh, yeah.
of views.
So it's simplistic. It's there's always an interest. Because a lot of people sometimes don't stop and think, how does that work?
Yeah.
How does this happen? You know what I mean? Like, oh, I want this specific color blue. And they don't realize how many factors go into like making sure that's correct. And if it's a shade off, so it's a huge process. But you're right. There's something for everybody out there. So why rob yourself of the potential of finding like-minded individuals, finding your tribe, as
Yeah.
people like to say now.
Yeah.
Find the people that work with it. And it takes going out there and taking those risks, because that's going to bring you closer to where you need to be.
Absolutely.
Is-
I always say that if you procrastinate on things, you put the burden or the pain or both that you're feeling right now on your future self. So if right now you know that there's something that you need to do, or there's a fear that you need to overcome, as long as you're not doing that, you're continuing to put that burden on your future self, and your future self through the present moment, which will be you, will experience that burden. And so you extend the timeline out of you feeling this exact same way over this thing. And it could be many things that add up, right? So do your future self a favor, because if I ask you right now, how do you feel about the fact that there are things in your past that you should have done and you didn't do because you let fear stop you? What would you say to that? And as a viewer, let us know in the comments. What is your answer to? How do you feel right now about the things in the past that you haven't done because of fear? How do you feel about it now in the present moment?
Yeah, I mean, really, regret.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, even if it wasn't going to turn out ideally how I wanted it, it still would have been a great experience.
Absolutely. So, in not taking risks because of our fear of failure, we would just give our future selves a bigger dosage of that feeling.
Yes, yes.
So if you don't want to feel that way in the future, if we don't want to, and I would answer the same way, and I think, you probably would answer the same way or similar to it as well, we wouldn't feel good about it,
Yeah,
right? So why make our future selves also not feel good
yes.
about it? Maybe the ones in the past that you can't change, fine, you can't go back and change those, but maybe some of those things are still lingering, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe you want to start that YouTube channel or that
Mhm.
TikTok channel or
Yeah.
that business, or start expressing your art. Maybe you do want to do these things, but maybe you're not doing them because you're afraid of failing.
Yeah.
What is it really that you're afraid of? Is it that you're afraid of being embarrassed? Is it that you're afraid of putting in a bunch of work and it not panning out? Is it that you're afraid that it won't make you enough money? Identify what those fears are. Write down those fears. Really, really think your way through them, and see if those fears are even your own fears, or if they're fears that were put into that were planted into you
Yeah,
by society.
absolutely.
They may be your parents' fears, right?
Yeah.
Your parents may have said money doesn't grow on trees, but rich people are not good people, and so maybe subconsciously you're afraid of becoming a rich person because you think that you're not going to be
Yeah.
a good person if you
Yeah.
become a rich person.
And it teaches people to settle. Settle
Right.
for less than what you deserve.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
they're at this point in life and this time, there's no need for you to settle.
Yeah.
There's so much potential. You have so much potential to do the things that you want to do in life. Why settle? It's out there for you. There's nothing wrong with asking for it in abundance as long as you're willing to put in the work. If you're putting in the work and you have the right intention, it's gonna pan out.
It is.
It's gonna pan out.
It is. If you look at anybody out there and you say to yourself, "Oh, how come they have that, or how come they can do that, or how come someone, whether it's them or a family member or a friend or someone, took risks, they failed upwards, and they put themselves in a situation where either A, it is that person that you're looking at that you're envious of or jealous of or questioning how they got there. Maybe they did all the sacrificing and all the risk taking, they got themselves there, or their parents did, or somebody did. And that's how they ended up in that situation. For the most part. Some people win the lottery, some people will win a lawsuit, whatever it may be, right? But for the most part, and then you're able to bless your children, you're able to bless your family, you're able to bless the people around you because you go out there and you show them. And I know how important this is for you to show your family that they can do it. They are able as possible. You're able to bless them with that because they see you taking risks and they see that you can conquer them. And at the end of the day, guys, every single person out there is just a normal person. Like from the president to whoever to the CEOs, they're just normal people that a lot of people know about. And usually a lot of people know about them because they do take a lot of risks. Hate him or love him, Donald Trump, hate him or love him, the man is the biggest risk taker in the world. Whether you agree, and I'm not endorsing or not endorsing. The man is one of the biggest risk takers in the world.
No, absolutely. Is that, I mean, how many people are going to go straight from, the world of business and TV to say, hey, I'm the president of the United States?
And do it twice.
And I mean, but that's the thing is that, don't allow what your, what you may feel, at a personal level to get you away from the facts there. Is that even the people that we disagree with do have something going for themselves that we may be lacking in something.
Maybe we can learn. Maybe we don't do it exactly like them, but maybe we do learn. Like, hey, obviously the dude's a great negotiator, right?
Absolutely.
Hate him or love him, the dude seems to be a great negotiator. He's done it his whole life. He's been bankrupt, blah 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 blah. And again, this is not endorsing him as or not endorsing. This isn't speaking. We don't talk politics here on this channel. But okay, if he's so good at negotiating, maybe read the book if that's something that you want to learn. Learn from people that have out and that's I'm so glad we got onto this. A lot of the times failing for us is also a lack of education. It's a we feel like we're underprepared for the situation, right? So sometimes we do fail because we tell ourselves, again, we sabotage, we say, well, I don't know enough. And so then we don't spend enough time learning to know enough. So then the situation comes, we fail and we say, I don't know enough, when we could instead spend that time preparing ourselves and saying, I don't know enough yet.
Get that knowledge.
Yeah. I don't know enough yet. We don't know enough on how to run a successful, super popular podcast or whatnot, but dude, we'll figure it out.
We're on the way.
We're on the way every single day. We'll get there. We'll figure it out. One day we're going to have a new problem come up that we've never experienced before, and we're going to have to learn. We're going to have to figure it out, but oftentimes we're afraid because we know that we're not preparing enough. You know what I mean? We're afraid to lose weight. We're afraid to, start a new job. We're afraid to express our art. Like, hey, maybe you're pretty okay at drawing, and you want to express your art through social media or whatever it may be, and you're okay at it. But maybe your fear of not being great and doing good is because you're not spending as much time as you should do.
Exactly. Yeah.
Maybe you're going out to the bars every single night instead of spending a little bit of time practicing and sharpening your skills or whatever it may be. And so then now that becomes a roadblock, and and you don't even fail because you don't even do it because you're so underprepared.
Exactly. Piss poor preparation is really going to yield unfavorable action.
Absolutely.
So that is a thing too, is that, again, it goes to the whole, ideology of like, don't just say that I can do this or that I should deserve or I deserve this without action. You have to get out there. And even if you're not, quote unquote, the best yet, the best artist, there's someone out there that would love what you're doing. Have you seen some of the stuff now that they have for these art exhibits and stuff? It may not be my cup of tea, but people are paying hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars for it. Hey, get your content out there.
Yeah.
The people that will appreciate it will gravitate to it by the droves.
Yeah.
So
it's usually not the best that succeed the most. It's just the most consistent.
Most consistent. You can say that with music. You can say that with politics. You can say that with just everyday life, work, whatever. It's the people that stay consistent. The people that everybody hate at the job that's always there, it's because they're always there.
Yeah.
Like, man, dude, Phil never takes a day off. Oh man, that's why he's the general manager.
Yeah.
He does a horrible job. Well, you took off, 15 days last month.
All right, Betty Sue.
Exactly. So now you have to be more consistent than Phil.
Yeah.
Do the things. If I feel like I'm a better artist, then I got to show through my work that I'm a better artist. I can't just sit back and critique. I'm not in the game.
Yeah.
So okay, I'm gonna go ahead and critique from my couch or from the bleachers, but these guys are actually in the game. At the end of the day, that's all that matters. So look at the way of how to implement yourself. It doesn't have to be perfect. The rollout doesn't have to be great. It doesn't have to be top-notch quality. Get it out and stay consistent. Once you do that, it's all gonna work out in that sense.
100%. 100%. What is one way? And let us know in the comments. What is one way or one thing that you can go out there today and face your fear of failure? What is that one thing that you can do today? Let us know down below what that would be. Man, clock us out of here today.
All right.
Give us something good to think.
All right, guys. Behind every beautiful painting, there is paint that is spilled, there's messy brushes, and there is a absolute disaster behind the scenes.
Okay.
But no one cares once they see the Mona Lisa. Right? Don't be afraid to make big mistakes. Don't be afraid to have to start over and choose a new canvas. But stay consistent. Don't give up. Don't let the noise distract you from what you want to do. Stay consistent, stay happy with yourself, and stay hungry.
Today's a great day.
Today is a great day.
See y'all.
See you.